1F says, after 1/6 of a barrel of rice was eaten, 10 kilograms of rice was left. How many kilograms of rice would be left after 1/4 of it had been eaten? My sentence on the bottom says there would be blank kilograms of rice left. Now this is going to require us to use some reasoning, so stick with me as I go through it. So we're told that after 1/6 of a barrel of rice was eaten, 10 kilograms of rice was left. So let's illustrate that first. I'm going to draw my bar. I know I need to break it up into 6 parts because I need to show 1/6. So this 1/6 is eaten. And 10 kilograms is left over. So that means that this is all left over. I'm going to figure out what each unit is. So 10 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are left over is 2. So each unit is 2 kilograms. So 1 unit is 2 kilograms. Now let's take a look at the next part. How many kilograms of rice would be left after 1/4 of it had been eaten? So we're going to draw another bar, but now we're going to break it up into fourths. And now we're going to show that 1/4 was eaten, and we want to figure out how much would be left this time. So this is where our reasoning comes in. We have to think, how in the world can we compare sixths and fourths? Because we need to somehow find a common unit, right, in order to figure out how much would be left over if 1/4 was eaten. So what is a common denominator of 1/6 and 1/4? When I look at that, I see that 12 is a common denominator. So that means that I can look at my first bar, and I currently have it broken up into 6 parts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to now break them up into 12 parts. So I split each one in half, which means I now have 12 parts. And that means that each unit is actually 1 kilogram. And that's going to help me a lot when I go to my second bar here. Now I want to illustrate this bar in twelfths. It's currently split up into 4. So that means that I need to split each one of these sections into 3 parts. And I'm doing this so that I end up with 12 parts. I now have 12 parts in each bar. I can now compare them. I know that if one part of my first bar is 1 kilogram, then one part of my second bar is 1 kilogram. Now I'm able to figure out how much is left over. If each one's 1 kilogram, let's count up how many we have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 kilograms. So there would be 9 kilograms of rice left. On to problem 1G. Andy has 7 3/4 quarts of fruit juice more than Molly. Molly has 3.5 quarts of fruit juice less than Sammy. Sammy has 13 2/3 quarts of fruit juice. How much fruit juice do Andy and Molly have all together? And that should be a question. My sentence on the bottom says Andy and Molly have blank quarts of fruit juice all together. So taking a look at this, we can see that we are actually comparing 3 people, Andy, Molly, and Sammy. So we know that we're going to want to draw this as a comparison problem because we're given information like that Molly has less than Sammy and Andy has more than Molly. So we're going to label Andy, Molly, and Sammy so that we can compare them all. We know that Andy has 7 3/4 quarts more than Molly. So we're going to draw Andy's bar, and we know that Andy's bar is going to be longer than Molly's bar. And we know that it is 7 3/4 quarts more. We're also told that Molly has 3.5 quarts of fruit juice less than Sammy. So if Molly has less than Sammy, Sammy's bar needs to be longer. And I can illustrate here in the extra part that Sammy has 3.5 quarts more. That's 3.5 quarts. I'm also told that Sammy has 13 2/3 quarts of fruit juice. So they tell us how much Sammy has. 13 2/3 quarts. We want to know how much do Andy and Molly have all together. So there's my question mark. Now we're given lots of information. We just have to now solve it. So I know that I can find Molly, how much Molly has, by subtracting Sammy's total. So then my first step is going to be to take 13 2/3 and subtract 3.5. Remember, I subtract my whole numbers first. So that's going to equal 10 2/3 minus 1/2. I have to rewrite that with a common denominator, which will be 6. So that's the same as 2/3 is the same as 4/6 minus 3/6. 10 1/6. So Molly has 10 1/6 quarts. I can cross out that question mark there. Now I'm going to be able to figure out how much Andy has by taking Molly's total and adding in how much more Andy has. So my second step is going to be to take 10 1/6 and add 7 3/4 to it to find Andy's total. Remember, we add whole numbers first. So 17 1/6 plus 3/4. I then have to look for a common denominator for 6 and 4, which will be 12. So 17 2/12 plus 3/4 is the same as 9/12. So I'm just finding equivalent fractions there so I can add. So now I'm going to add 17 2/12 and 9/12, which is 17 11/12. So now I can write in 17 11/12 for Andy. Now remember, I want to find how much Andy and Molly have together. I just figured out how much Molly had, and I figured out how much Andy had. So now we just have to add those together for our third step. So 17 11/12 plus 10 1/6. And when I add those together, remember whole numbers first, 27 11/12 plus, I'm going to go ahead and change 1/6 into 12 so that I can add them. I have a common denominator. So 1/6 is the same as 2/12. I get 7 13/12. Now that's an improper fraction. 27 13/12. Now that is an improper fraction, so I'm not done yet. 23 13/12 is the same as 28 1/12. 28 1/12 quarts. And I'm going to write that in my answer. 28 1/12 quarts of fruit juice all together. And this is our last problem, 1H. Jim gave 3/8 of his stickers to Leroy and 1/4 of them to Rainey. He had 21 stickers left. How many stickers did he have at first? And my sentence at the bottom says he had blank stickers at first. That's what I'm going to want to find. So now, I know that Jim gave 3/8 of his stickers to Leroy. He also gave 1/4 of them to Rainey. Well, in order to show this in a bar model, remember, we need all of our units to be the same. So I'm going to need to find a common denominator before I draw this out as a bar model. So 1/4, remember, you can find an equivalent fraction, is the same as 2/8. Make sure that looks like an 8 there. 2/8. Now I can show how much he gave to Leroy and how much he gave to Rainey easily on one bar. So I'm going to draw my full bar. I'm going to split it up into 8 parts. I know that 3 parts were given to Leroy. I know that 2 parts were given to Rainey. I know that he had 21 stickers left, and I do not know how many he had at first, but I want to find that out. So now we can solve using the unit method. We know that 3 units equals 21. So 21 divided by 3 equals 7. That means each unit equals 7. So to find the total amount, we're going to take 7 and multiply that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. 7 times 8 is 56. So he had 56 stickers at first.